Echidna has released a non-ReZero content, which I think is amazing. Trying to diversify and spread other content rather than being stuck to one thing. I think is great for content creation in a nutshell. But this is called You Need to Watch This New Anime in 2025. I've been watching. I've been telling people to watch this.
To Be Hero X is the new banger anime of the spring season, so I have to tell you guys about it. Yes, at first the CGI was kind of a red flag, but considering the type of women you're attracted to, you generally ignore those anyway, so don't.
Nah, CGI being a red flag is such like a brain dead fucking monkey take. And I'm not saying that's what Echidna's saying, but like if you, so many people think like, oh, CGI automatically bad. I guarantee you, these are the same kids that watch Demon Slayer from Studio Ufotable and their masterful way of utilizing CGI, and they don't even know what they're looking at as CGI.
Don't worry, it's not just CGI. It's kinda like Arcane in the sense that it switches up animation styles all the time, and it looks pretty expensive. They probably could have saved a lot of starving children with the budget for this anime, but anyway, the premise is
starving children? Who cares about that? We need more anime.
basically our main character got fired from his job, so he's on the roof of the building and he says, I'm gonna freaking KMS myself. But right before he can jump, the hero of the city arrives.
KMS myself. The hell does that even mean? That's like saying ATM machine, you know? What word can I use so I don't have to actually say it out loud and get banned for something? What would be take care of yourself? Yeah. Basically, you're saying KMS myself. Take care of yourself, myself.
Just in time to save him. Except instead of doing that, he just kills himself first, which ironically does actually stop the main character from jumping. The hero, whose name was Nice, had the ability to fly, so this was also a pretty ironic way to do it. And for context, the heroes in this anime all have different powers, but their power scaling is based on their trust value, which depends on public perception and popularity. So they're basically influencers. Like, you could make me more powerful by subscribing. Right now I'm at 300k, so I could easily beat up someone with only 30k. However,
wait, who did he bring up there?
Now I'm at 300k, so I could easily beat up some.
Okay. Okay, I thought that maybe he was gonna bring up like another ReZero content creator and put them on blast.
Someone with only 30k. However, I would be no match for someone with 3 million.
Mr. Beast would be crazy, man. Haven't heard from Pan Piano in a while. Her thumbnails, I guess, hasn't been that risque in a while, huh? Yeah, it's crazy. The power scaling is based off of trust value. But it's not just the magnitude of the number determining your strength as a person, but rather the fan's perception also like changes your power, right? So Nice is Mr. Perfect. He's nice. Therefore, even his personality, let's say, you know, the OCD behavior that he has, right? You get to see how the psyches and the personality also changes along with it. So it's honestly a curse. And it's really interesting to think about what number one hero is doing X and how nobody like seems to know him. Based on the trailers, it seems like he is an absolute mystery. Maybe it's better that way. Because like I feel like if you are beholden to the public and you're offering like public like relationship, you know, like what Nights and Moon was doing. And what you basically don't want to be put in a bucket of what the fans think you are, and now you're eternally a slave to that, right? The whole system here is honestly, they're like chains, they're like shackles. It's not a blessing, it's kind of seen as a curse.
Piano could absolutely destroy me. She could just completely violate me, please. But because their powers rely on popularity, most heroes are owned by companies kinda like VTubers. So right after Nice loses a 1v1 to Gravity, his manager and staff kidnap the main character and interrogate him. And they don't want to lose their jobs, so they blackmail him into becoming the new Nice. They dye his hair and everything and basically force him into pretending to be the hero Nice. And thus, the anime is about our main character learning how to be hero. X. Formerly known as To Be Hero Twitter. There's something symbolic about the first Nice falling to his death at the start of the episode, and then the new Nice rising up the elevator at the end. And yes, our protagonist really just went from being suicidal 20 minutes ago to a national celebrity living a life of luxury and Also, the original Nice had a really hot hero girlfriend named Moon. So by the
Industry
transitive
plants.
property, our boy is dating her now too. So he gets home and finds her in his bed because they're dating, so they sleep together, right? Massive W. Except wait, there's a cliffhanger. Oh no.
She's dead.
Isn't it crazy how things can be going so well and all it takes is one event that changes everything?
Wonder what this really was all about though. Because like, I'm expecting a lot of people watching this video already know, about To Be Hero X and the potential spoilers in episode 4. But like, a lot of people call this a foreshadowing. Okay, but is it just a random scene? Like, are we supposed to assume that this is supposed to be some sort of future slide, or just like are you just showing this in a trivial random, not a random way, but they just kind of arbitrarily show this, and then later on it's like, oh yeah, that was the foreshadowing. But the foreshadowing is just seeing her dead like that. Like, does that really? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if there was like something more to this scene than just showing that, hey, keep in mind of this girl dead in episode 1. You never see what's gonna happen later on.
Event that changes everything. Kinda like the eclipse from Berserk, right? Well, Echidna, I'm glad you brought that up because it just so happens to bring me right to the sponsored segment of this video. Berserk.
Diablo Immortal and Berserker having a collab. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. Having an ad segment in a video that is 8:44 seconds long. I'm just saying. Like, if this is like a 30-minute video and you had like an ad segment, hey, it is what it is though, right? It is what it is though, right? Thank you, Kennedy159 for the tier 1. I appreciate it, man.
Anyway, about that crazy cliffhanger, our main character just got in bed with the hottest girl he's ever seen, and he didn't even try anything. He just wanted to put a blanket over her, and surprise, she's dead. Except she's not. Immediately at the start of the next episode, it's revealed that it was just a dream, and Moon is perfectly fine. The cliffhanger was basically just a marketing ploy to get you to watch the next episode, which I don't think was needed, honestly.
Not really, right? Because like it's not just to make you keep watching. There is meaning to it near the end of his character arc.
Anime was already good enough on its own that they didn't need to trick you into watching the next episode. Like, I was gonna do that anyway. It's like if Studio White Fox performed oral sex on me to make sure I gave ReZero a god tier ranking in my upcoming tier list video. It was gonna be god tier no matter what, so they didn't have to do the oral. But yeah, that's basically how I felt about the first cliffhanger until I watched episode 4. I don't want to spoil what episode 4's cliffhanger is because it was actually so insane that I think you need to experience that for yourself, but I don't know, guys. I feel like
it was pretty nuts, and I think at this point it's not really a secret, right? It is something that we should have all seen coming, yet in the heat of the moment everyone's like, oh, happy ending, wow, and it's like, psych, nope.
That one wasn't a dream. After that episode, I was thinking about it basically the entire week. I couldn't fucking wait until the next episode came out so I could find out what the fuck just happened. I was so excited. But then episode 5 came out and it introduced a completely different storyline and didn't even continue the main one. Totally new characters that we've never seen before. It felt like they made another anime and this was the first episode.
And you should expect that 8 more times. Because there are 10 heroes. We've shown you the infographic map. Each hero will have a couple episodes dedicated towards their story arc. And episode 5, I can definitely see that there is a lack of enthusiasm and engagements in the videos. Obviously, people aren't going to keep watching if they don't really care about what they have seen so far. But in my opinion, I think the Isol arc, the first episode, was perhaps even better pilot episode to set up this character, and show his motivations and what it means to be a hero. I think, again, just such a compelling storytelling episode. It was so good, amazing, pacing godlike.
And normally, I'd be pretty upset about that, but the craziest thing about To Be Hero X is that it was able to make me even more invested in the new storyline than the other one that I was waiting all week to see. If any other anime attempted this, it would probably be a disaster, but To Be Hero X...
Yeah, like, there's other shows, right, where, like, Ishura, for example, not a lot of people talk about that show, but I think it's a decent example of a battle royale anime that focuses on different characters in different episodes. And it's hard to kind of carry on that momentum, especially if there are characters that you don't really care about, right? And that definitely could happen in To Be Hero X. I don't think each of the character arcs in To Be Hero X will be completely separate, isolated, and disconnected from the previous characters that we've had on. Based on the interview, of the director of To Be Hero X as well, he was kind of alluding that, yeah, the storytelling is not in chronological order. There's a lot of different Easter eggs and references and hints that you can pick up, and you can kind of piece the puzzle together.
Has a unique ability to keep you glued to the screen regardless of what's happening. They're just always cooking no matter what the ingredients are. And honestly, I think my favorite part about it is that it's an original anime, so there's no manga readers posting spoilers on your timeline and
Thank God for that. No annoying, salty source material people that's always dooming and crying and complaining and spoiling.
everyone in the comments has the same amount of information that you do. Nobody
Great.
can spoil you because nobody knows what will happen next episode. We're just all experiencing this together as anime
great, man.
onlys, and that's amazing. The only criticism I've heard so far is that at the start of the anime, the pacing is extremely fast, and to be fair, it is. However,
It is fast, but I think it's perfectly balanced. Like, there's a spectrum of, what's good and bad. And I think the pacing is definitely in the high end of that spectrum, but I think it's delicately maintaining it. I think it's honestly doing such a good job. There's a lot of animes that's literally dying because pacing is garbage. Multiple weeks spent on setting random bullshit up when you could have condensed these episodes to give an audience a much more, expedited and a fast tracking experience. Like, you can't expect, to just stall and drag along and for people to just keep watching. They're gonna stop watching, bro. Interest will drop off and you just gotta move on.
I think that's probably intentional because it fits the plot and honestly kind of builds the immersion. The main character literally got thrown into the role of Nice and wasn't given any time to prepare or adapt, and I feel like the lightning fast pacing kind of reflects that. Something this anime does really well though is convey emotions. Episode 5 almost made me cry even though they literally just introduced all these characters.
I agree. The emotional storytelling, not just in episode 5, but in Nice's arc too. Like, remember that episode with Stand Man? That was such a silly episode. But it wasn't completely just all silly and bullshit. By utilizing the silly undertones of how a man just can't sit down and take a shit, they're able to do storytelling on a deeper level of what it means to be Stand Man, for it to be this indomitable figure, and for that girl to, know the real Stand Man, and for him to take a knee. I've noticed that To Be Hero X does such a fantastic job in balancing comedy, silly story points here and there, but then tie it all together and to deliver such a nice packaged emotional story that's deeply rooted in heroism, right? The whole trust value with Shang Cheng not having, I think his name is Shang Cheng, maybe it's Ling Cheng, the Easel guy. The fact that he didn't have any trust value because he was an orphan, but there was also that little brother that he's hanging out with. And at the climax of the 5th episode, they're fighting and little bro is cheering on for Yi-Sol, the main character guy. And then you get to see this guy stop getting beat on and become that underdog, and you want to cheer for him. That also happened in episode 4 as well, when, Lin Ling basically threw away everything that was to be nice. And then the masses started to cheer for him, saying, oh my god, he's actually doing it, right? It's actually chills. These kind of heroic storytelling, I think, is so... It's so compelling to a lot of people. They see themselves maybe in the underdog, or they see themselves as the fans rooting for the underdog, and it's so good.
It's just proof that they can whip up a tearjerker in only 20 minutes, and that's pretty impressive.
Yes, Tibet can't do. Remember the whole Sylvia episode in Tibet? The biggest defense was you can't get invested in a character in the span of one episode and for them to quote unquote die or have some sort of emotional payoff. And again, I think it's very hard to get the average person to get invested in these characters that you've only known them for a couple minutes, right? And for you to be that engaged into it, very hard. To Be Hero X, masterful. They're able to do it.
It also has some pretty decent comedy too, although it's kinda hard to gauge what's humor and what isn't. Like when the original Nice hit the main character with that pose and then immediately dies 2 seconds later. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny, but it kinda made me laugh because
That's the point, in my opinion. They are delicately weaving in comedy with darker undertones here and there. Silly moments with deeper, storytelling, again with the whole Stand Man thing. That's why I think the direction and the storytelling in this show is supreme. Whoever is the scriptwriter of this show is godlike at doing storytelling.
Totally wasn't expecting it. There's also a hero named Mr. Stand, who I guess his power is that he's really strong, and his gimmick basically is that he never sits down. He always remains standing no matter what, because that's who he is. He's Mr. Stand. Except the English subtitles decided to change his name to
Firm, man. Peen, man. Hey, what the hell was that all about? What the hell, Firm?
Firm, man. Which is such a stupid name. It just sounds ridiculous. That's the word I was going to say.
Retarded!
Mr. Stand was a perfectly normal name, so I can't really tell if Firm Man was intended as a joke or if it was supposed to be taken seriously. Regardless, it was pretty goofy.
Translation issues, probably right. The direct translation of whatever the Chinese letters are probably comes to Firm, but it just makes more sense in English tongue to call it Stand.
I think Erect Man would have made it more clear personally, but also there's some pretty funny moments at the end of Mr. Stand's episode, like when he tries taking a shit without sitting down because he's always standing. The comedy is really good.
The comedy is supreme. Again, silly point, but able to deliver such a deep emotional story, man. So how does he take a shit really then? He has to take a shit standing up. Like, taking a piss isn't a problem, but like taking a shit, that's just gonna dribble down. He just gotta basically wear a diaper.
Honestly, overall, it just seems like this anime excels in every category, and it always nails whatever it's trying to do. Beautifully animated fight scenes, good CGI, well-written plot, likable characters, funny jokes, and the highlight is definitely the backstories. It is painful watching this weekly though. I just want to know what happens next, so I went looking for clues in the trailer and saw a bunch of other characters that haven't been introduced yet, and that got me excited because it means we haven't even fucking started yet. We're getting blessed with 24 episodes,
baby.
And I can't wait. Hold up. There's a character whose name is just Lolly. That's her name? What the fuck is about to happen?
It's a Chinese character. The term lolly has nothing to do with the Japanese, linguistics of lolly.
Oh, and this guy X is someone I recognize from the opening. I don't even know him yet, but I already know he has aura. I can feel it already. And
main aura farmer. He only has one episode though. The final episode, the finale of To Be Hero X, is his story. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell are they gonna deliver that story? I trust them. After what I've seen, I fully trust them with this, scheduling. But it's just like, really makes you think, what could they possibly do in one episode to have him show up at the very end and to do what? Maybe, again, I wonder if it's gonna go that like Tower of God season 1 route, where the entire season you are looking at the story from the perspective of other people. But the finale, you get the perspective of Rachel. And it's a completely different story, even though the same events are happening. And it is such a chilling, mind-blowing episode as you realize all the different conspiracies, right? And I'm wondering if X is just like looking, like he's basically existing in every single story arc, but we just don't see his perspective and it gets told like that. That'd be crazy. Or probably it's just, again, I don't, like, we're going to have a season 2, right? Like, there's a whole ranking tournament arc that's going to happen. And that's not going to happen this season. This season is the setup and the whole, like, introduction of these characters, such that in season 2, whenever that happens, that's the actual tournament. So maybe X will just kind of pull up and do a quick little intro and say, shall the tournament begin? And boom, done.
And his name is in the title of the anime, and he's the first character listed on Mal, so I'm guessing he's gonna be pretty important. Lucky Cyan was just mentioned in the latest episode, but
yeah, little nice Easter eggs, right? Little hints, right? To see that all these stories aren't completely like isolated. You can definitely have different references and hints here.
Hasn't been introduced yet, and it looks like she's being voiced by Rem from ReZero, so I'm pretty hyped for that. Anyway, if you aren't watching this yet, you gotta hop on the train with us because it's been fucking amazing so far. As for the tier list videos, I'm gonna have to combine the winter one with the spring one and just make another massive video, so make sure you subscribe. So
why not do separate? Like why combine both and have one video when you could get 2 videos out of it and most likely get double the revenue? But what the fuck do I know?
You don't miss that. Thanks everyone for watching. That's all for today. I'm out. Peace.
And that's pretty much it. If you're not watching To Be Hero X, you are missing out. If you are simply turned off by the CG, I mean, what can I do at this point, huh? You probably, ate too much crayons, growing up as a kid, and you basically just can't tell what good storytelling is, and all you care about is, Demon Slayer animation, and that's what fulfills you, then that's what fulfills you. But if you actually give a fuck about good anime, good storytelling, To Be Hero X is the anime in spring 2025 that I think appeals to the masses and is the front runner of this season, and I definitely recommend it. Also cool again that a kid that is venturing out, rather than like, what has he been up to recently? What has he been up to recently? The ReZero content, right? ReZero content, yeah. And again, right, not trying to backseat him, but it is, I think, so important to obviously stay focused into one topic so that you can scale off of the recommendation system. The more focused your niche is, the better you can reach out to wider people. But inevitably, if you want to do something more, because what happens when ReZero is done? You're out of content. You live and then you die with that content. You need to be able to make people watch you for you. And sometimes you just got to kind of bite the bullet and try out different things and try to create a community around that. So seeing him do this stuff like that. Same with Asarata, right? I think he's also a ReZero content creator who is pivoting into more diverse content. I think it's a good plan for sure. Please check out Echidna's video. Here's a link to the videos. Go give it a like and check out his other content if you care about ReZero, and I'll see you next time.